It was a hot and bleak afternoon when Danish came home from school. It was his second week in secondary school, but he was still having trouble adjusting to the new environment. As he collapsed onto the sofa, Puan Zima entered the living room. She was aware of his negative emotions. Putting on a comforting smile, she sat next to him.
Hey, how was school today?
It was alright.
Are you sure you feel alright?
I don't understand why it's so hard to make friends here. I have no friends in this new school. Everyone except me has their clique and I'm like a loner in the class. It's so different from my old school. I miss my friends.
Let me tell you a story. When I was in primary school in Rompin, my hometown, I could not speak Malay very well. Making friends was hard. I could only speak the Jakun language in school. However, my teachers were very kind and they helped us through everything, especially in learning the national language. Just like you, I had some friends of the same tribe from my hometown in the same primary school.
Just like Wafi and Amar. I miss them.
Yes, like them. Ina will invite me to recess together every day, and Ain will always check on me if I have any problems with homework. All of them were very good friends to me, and I always enjoyed being around them. We will eat together during recess, play games together, and help each other with homework throughout the 6 whole years. But good things don't last forever. The familiar face I used to see in school every day disappeared one after another because everybody, including my best friends, continued their secondary education in Rompin while I was entering secondary school in the city of Pekan. So now, for the first time in forever, I was on my own. It didn't help that things were different there. The students were not as welcoming as those in my primary school. They already had their own friends. They never even smiled back at me in the hallways.
That's what happened to me too, Mom. I realized that they only started to avoid me when they knew that I'm a Jakun or Orang Asli. They make fun of the name of my tribe and claim that I do not know things. This is so wrong.
Well, I know that feeling. As I was finally away from my comfort zone, I began to realize my weaknesses. My Malay was not very strong. Because I was the only student coming from our tribe Jakun, I found it very difficult to fit in with my other classmates. I remember an incident during English class where I wanted to form a group with my deskmate. The next day, she excluded me from the group she had formed despite her promises. When everyone was ready gathered in their groups, I was left alone, standing in the middle of the class while everyone stared at me. I feel so ashamed and ridiculed. Since then, I realized that it was so obvious that it was all because I was different.
Wait, that really happened to you? That's so sad. How did you overcome it?
All I can say is that God's timing is never wrong. One day during recess, I refused to go to the canteen to eat because I felt down and had no friends to go with. So I grabbed a newspaper and I saw this middle aged man in the headline. Professor Dr. Bahari, an Orang Asli from the Semai tribe, is an inspiration to the Orang Asli community.
Who is that, Mom?
This man is an Orang Asli, just like us, but he's from a tribe called Semai in Perak. I was so engrossed reading about this man. He lost his siblings and his father at a very young age, and there was only him, his older sister, and his mother in the family. To make ends meet, he did many jobs, such as gathering food resources and getting tips from the cash crop farmers.
So sad.
Yes, that's why we shouldn't take things for granted. Nevertheless, Professor Dr. Bahari's mother tried her best to provide the necessities for him to study, although they were very poor. This reminds me of my own family in my hometown, their hopes and expectations on me to study hard and to make a difference. Anyway, let's continue with Professor Dr. Bahari's story. Due to his hard work, he had a chance to study in Australia for his bachelor's degree and in the UK for a PhD. It made me think that someone who came from the same background as us managed to go this far because he had never given up. Just like the saying, when there is a will, there is a way. So, what is stopping me?
You're right, Mom. So, what's the story about that man now?
He's a very successful man who now devotes his work to the people, especially his community. He was never ashamed of where he came from, and I realized that it was time for me to break out of my shell and do what was best for me. Professor Dr. Bahari took a full responsibility to make a change in his life. If he did, why shouldn't I?
That's true, Mom. I feel so bad for complaining now. So, what did you do next?
Curious now, are we? Well, I went back to class feeling motivated as ever. I even cut out that piece of article and pasted it on my study desk when I went back home. I told myself, if the guy in the newspaper can do it, so can I. And I tried to keep a positive mind. Was it difficult? Yes, because I still didn't have any friends, and it was very lonely for me. But I kept telling myself that it's okay, things will get better. I just have to study hard and be positive. So that's what I did. For a moment, I was able to forget how lonely I was. The story of Professor Dr. Bahari was what kept me going. Up to this day, I still idolize him. He was the one who inspired me to become an educator. An advice from me is that you should set goals for yourself because knowing what you want to achieve can motivate you to work harder.
That's what you always told me, so that I can become a pilot like how I wanted. But it's so hard to go to school when I don't feel happy and have no friends, Mom.
I know, being lonely is hard. One time I even thought to myself, you know what? I'm going to try to make friends. In fact, I'm going to do that right now. So, as I was at the library, I saw this girl who was sitting in the corner reading a book that I recognized. I decided to approach her. Hey, I read that book too, I said to the girl. She gave me a strange look, like she was suspicious of my intentions. But when we started talking, we hit it off immediately. It turns out we had a lot in common. She loved reading, and so did I. We even become study buddies after that. Her name is Mariam. Does that ring a bell?
You're not talking about Aunt Mariam, are you? Your best friend right now?
The one and only.
That means you guys have been friends for so many years.
Yeah, she was always there for me during secondary school. It didn't matter to me that I didn't have many friends because that one friend was enough. We studied hard so that we could enter university. When things got difficult, I always look back at the clipping of the article so that it would remind me why I worked so hard in the first place. Then we graduated from secondary school in the blink of an eye and passed our SPM with flying colors. So, do you get what I'm trying to tell you?
I should find something from the newspaper and look at it every day.
Ha ha, very funny.
Mom, I was just joking. I know that I should make the first move and try to befriend other people because there are odds that those people will help me go through hard times and be the best version of myself.
Clever boy. You never know that there are people who don't have any friends and are waiting for people to approach them as well. So, you get a friend and he gets a friend. It's a win-win.
I have never thought of it that way. Anyway, you did get to enter university, right, Mom?
Yep, but it wasn't easy, since the fees were very expensive. And I'm sure you know this, but I didn't come from a wealthy family, and so money was a very big deal for us. Do you know what Chakwa is?
No.
Chakwa is the Department of Orang Asli Development. I was one of the lucky ones to receive a scholarship from them. Because of that, I was able to obtain my degree.
Wow, you must have been really smart to get a scholarship. I hope I do too in the future.
All because of one single vow of determination. Be brave enough to face the world and to keep going on. I still found myself looking back at the clipping of that newspaper article. Wait, I'll show you.
You still have it after all this time?
Of course, looking at his success of being an educator, I knew it was what I wanted as well. That's why I entered a teacher training institute. And now here I am, a science teacher years later. I have to say, I really do like teaching kids, and I can't imagine doing anything else beside this. It was all worth it.
Wow, I'm so impressed with you, Mom. But you have always been a great person. I'm not sure if I'll be as capable as you. It does not seem like I could resolve my problem anytime soon.
Hey, I was just like you. I was afraid of not being able to make any friends or even graduate. But here I am today, as you can see. I embrace my identity and I'm very proud of our heritage. So you should be too. Trust me, everything will work out and fall into its place. You just need to be positive and be brave to make a change.
The next day, Zima went to pick up her son at the school, and she could see that her son was walking, all happy and giddy. Just before he opened the door of the passenger seat, a few boys were shouting his name. "Danish, see you tomorrow!" And he glanced back briefly before waving his hand back to them, shouting.
Bye, guys.
He entered the car with a goofy smile plastered on his face.
So, how was school?
I took your advice, Mom. I tried to be brave and approached this one kid who was eating alone during recess. He was really nice.
Zima chuckled and patted his head before driving off. She was happy as her son continued to blabber about his day. I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. The brave man is not he who does not feel afraid, but he who conquers that fear. Nelson Mandela.